And it's 3 minutes after 7 o'clock. Getting a little bit late start this morning. Everything's running behind time. We'll talk real fast and play catch up. Good morning. I'm Ray for Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barris.
Well, we just made up 2 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
How y'all doing this morning?
We're good.
We're good.
Who's got an iPhone over there? Anybody?
Me.
Not me. I do not like iPhones. They
What,
do
what
not
are you about
like
to
me.
tell me about my phone?
Strange chirping sounds and alerts on iPhones that put some Americans on high alert over the last year and a half as they try to figure out why an unknown device is tracking their every move. It's one of the latest crime trends that tech-savvy criminals are using to carry out car thefts and stalkings, which has pushed police departments across the nation to warn residents to watch out for this new tactic. Bzzz, yours beeping yet?
No.
Beep, beep, bzzz,
Nope.
chirp. Makes any sound, somebody's tracking you.
Well,
Oh.
if they're tracking me, can hear me, they know I'm weaponized
They don't care
24/7.
about that. They don't hear you. They just track your device. Where
They
you
can
are.
track my device, but if they come near me,
Well,
I'm
they'll-
not scared to use my tools of the
They're
trade.
gonna be prepared for you.
Yeah, okay. I'm pretty handy with my machete.
Oh my God!
I'd carry that thing in my car.
How you going? You need to carry it in your purse.
It won't. It's huge.
Get a bigger purse.
I don't know. I have to carry like a suitcase around, I guess. Drag that thing around.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff. Any more fallout from the Onslow Republican Party about what's going on in this state of confusion?
Oh, what's happening now?
Well, I'm just asking.
Oh.
Is anything new?
Not everything's
Anything
quiet.
we need to know about?
No, their commissioners will be swearing in Mark
Mark
Price on
next week,
Wednesday.
yeah.
10
Yes.
a.m.
Yep. Okay.
Next Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
next
well, that's
Wednesday.
right, because we're already in
Yesterday
Today's
started.
Thursday.
Thursday, Lee.
Yesterday
Yeah. Get it
started.
together, Lee. Get it together. Yeah.
Ever since that day, we thought Wednesday was Thursday.
That's messed you up ever since.
I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, it's Thursday.
When did you think Wednesday was Thursday?
It was a while back.
It was.
We had a day.
Is
we
that
had a
one of-
day.
Is that one of those days that I confused you?
No, it is one of those days
Well,
that.
Well, I'm just so happy it's Friday today that I just don't know
Oh
what to do.
God!
Don't do it. You're going to mess us all up.
Yeah, we were just like kept on, and all of a sudden we just stopped, and we were going like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah.
today's Wednesday."
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah. Mark Price is going to be sworn in next week.
Yes.
He was the choice of the Onslow Republican Party's executive. You call it council, commission,
Committee.
whatever.
Committee,
I don't know
right.
what they are. A bunch of Republicans, including a lot of elected officials, made this choice. I will say this. You fix it when I'm wrong. All elected Republicans in Onslow County serving on something representing Onslow County are on this executive committee by default. Is that right?
That's
Correct.
correct.
They're not all active.
No, not all
That's
of
correct also.
participatory.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
anyway, and then how did the question that keeps coming up for me? How did the other half of this executive committee get chosen? They just volunteered.
No, the precinct chairs
Precinct chair.
and some at-large members.
How do the at-large members? Because I can understand.
They just
the
like
others.
it actually starts every year when they have the county convention, which any registered Republican that was
Uh-huh.
registered by January 31st of that year of the convention can come to it. And you sit at the table that marks your precinct. So I'm West Northwoods, so I sit at West Northwoods table.
Uh-huh.
And then you sign a form there. And then there is
What kind of form do you sign there?
it's a piece of paper saying that you sign in,
Like
more
a-
or less,
like
that you were
attendance.
present.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like attendance.
And so
Present county
then
form.
the first thing they do is they break away for precinct meetings.
Mhm.
And that because every year you have to
Oh,
have
that's 24 meetings, isn't it?
no,
We're
it's
all at
all
one
done at the
time.
same time. It's like 15 minutes.
You're all at
And so
tables. Like this table, that table.
So you
during
have-
that meeting,
Yeah.
that's where you sign up if you'd like to be precinct chair or an at-large member. See, there's only 18 at-large members on the executive committee, but there's 24 precincts. So not everybody will, from each precinct get a member to represent them. But
Well, they'll get a precinct chair.
yeah, they get a precinct chair, and only the precinct chair and the at-large members for the party are on the executive committee.
So how do they eliminate those 18 at large from the 24 precincts?
Well, most
So
of the
who
time,
eliminates those? The
Well,
other 6.
what happens most of the time I would say every time you never have more than 18 sign up anyway. Sometimes, most time is quite under the
So
18
they
a
don't
little
even
bit.
want to be there.
So
Mhm.
then
I-
at the meeting, they'll go ahead and take nominations from the floor. So you could have two people that live in West Northwoods that become at-large members.
Okay.
If nobody else wants to fill it. And then if it comes down to you've got more than 18, then you have to take a vote.
Who comes up with these rules?
That's just part of the makeup of the Republican Party, how they do things.
do
And
the
I'm sure the
Democrats do
Democrat, yeah, I don't know.
No.
I would suspect probably similar, but I
I
don't
would
know.
think so too.
Yeah, but I think just based on talking to friends that are Democrats, I think it's fairly
I
similar.
think they both are pretty much the
Yeah.
same, but then they do have
I-
differences because if you're chairman of the Republican Party, you cannot run for an elected office like commissioner or whatever, unless you resign your position. The Democrats, I've seen where the chairman of the Democratic Party has run just about every election cycle.
Well, that's because there are not that enough Democrats to fill the slate. Is that
See,
correct?
so I
Th-
think
I mean, that who are interested. It
I think
doesn't
their
seem
plan
like-
of organization is a little different, which is that's
well,
fine.
No, and nothing against them, but they're just. When was the last time they filled a full slate? The Democrats did, for having at least one person for every available seat.
For running for an election.
You're talking about
Yeah.
locally,
For
or
elected office, yeah.
I
in
don't think
Oslo
I've
County.
I've never seen it.
I don't
during
think
my
I've ever
time.
seen it. No.
Well, it happened years ago, of course. But,
Right.
But I'm just trying to think back in recent times.
Mhm.
To me, that is just like y'all ain't organized.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the fact that this county was once pretty much blue, and then over the years, and we're talking years, it just turned red.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean they're not Democrats here. 'Cause
Right,
there
but
There are
plenty of
Democrats here.
Democrats.
Yeah.
I'm going to get your latest
26,000 or something,
stats
right?
here. I'm going to get the latest ones.
Okay, you're going to tell me that. And I'm going to say about 26,000.
Okay.
I think
Registered
it's like
Democrats.
24,000.
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think it was
Oh,
too.
close.
So, yeah, let me get it up here. You got to go through the pages. All right, wait a
I
minute.
know, it's
I'm
not
just
like
about
user
there.
friendly.
Just about there. There we go. Well, in North Carolina, we have 7,448,089 registered
Okay.
voters.
Now,
That's overall. Okay, we're getting to Onslow here. This is effective December 10th,
Okay.
this month,
Mhm.
2022. And we're going
Democrats.
down to Onslow. And we have
I say 24,000 and something.
ding, ding, ding. Kelly wins. All right. Democratic is 24,475.
okay.
Republicans is 45,843.
And
Yeah, you won the prize. Unaffiliated 47,536.
still in the lead.
And I meant to bring those I have a pack of voter registration forms. So I meant to bring you some today.
Yeah, I know a few people that want them.
Yes.
What, to be independent?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have,
Well,
a,
we
few,
have
I
a
have a few
total-
friends that want to switch from
Wow.
Republican to independent. Yeah.
Really?
Total
Mhm.
registered voters in Onslow County is 119,572.
And how many turned out the last election?
The last
Not
election.
that number, I'm
I
going
know
to tell you.
that.
Yeah, listen, out of the 119,000, let me
Yeah,
see.
and
It
this-
was. All right.
This
there's
was a
the
big election.
results. All right.
Should have been 80%, but
It should have been 80, but I told you every non-presidential year it runs anywhere from
yeah, but
34 to
but
36%.
this was a huge one.
Mhm.
Right. Yes, it was. Well, for the most part, your people who don't get involved in politics, they generally don't come out until the presidential race.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. So
Some
when-
people only vote in
Um,
those.
So again, of that 24,000 and
Mhm.
change Democrats,
Mhm.
Right.
registered Democrats in Onslow County,
Mhm.
why can they not fill a slate? Every seat that is open in every election, there should be at least one Democrat running. For during the primary, they could be. Personally, if I was pushing my party like that, I would say, guys, why don't we get about 3 or 4 people to run for in the primary? That would attract attention.
Well,
I think
that
it's.
would get a movement going, but they don't do it.
right.
I
What's
think it's
wrong?
because they see those numbers and say we don't have a chance. I don't
Well,
know. This is just
yeah,
an
they
opinion.
do, because the
Yeah.
Republicans are disgruntled, and they're 20
Republicans
how
are
many-
disgruntled.
How many of me are there? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's 47. It's
47,000.
climbing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
47,000.
Now, when I left in 2020, we were the Republicans. We had to lead then, and
Mhm.
then over the last couple of years, and I attribute that to the division in the party everywhere, and Trump not winning.
Mhm.
You know, though people want to
I'm
argue with
just
me
saying-
about that. So,
I'm just saying, Democrats, y'all are missing the boat. And
well,
You
I
have
just
to
want to see the
Try to
best person.
capitalize. Yeah.
I want to see the best person running and
Mhm.
being elected.
well, you asked what I said, 119,000. Okay, we had 44,218 come out.
Oh, that's
That's not even half.
30%,
Yeah.
It was
35%.
37.46%, which was
Not
probably
acceptable.
1% better than what we normally do on an average.
That's not acceptable.
No, it's
Oh, I
not
agree.
acceptable.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, we started right off with politics.
910-333-0137.
39,
9.
What did I say?
7.
I just add 2.
That's what
Yeah.
happens on a Friday.
910.
Y'all better stop right here now. I'm gonna
910.
punch both of you right here, one with each hand. I got one on either side of me.
910-333-0139. Now, for you folks who may be up watching, scrolling around,
Mhm.
we are putting a couple of test things up just out there, live video,
Mhm.
just so we can test it and see. There's nothing you're going to see on it.
Right.
Maybe a mouse running across the table in here.
Okay. I've thought
Maybe a
about that.
strange board falling
Mhm.
because for no reason whatsoever, double stick tape doesn't always stick.
No.
Mhm.
And
They
you might
lied.
you may see some stuff just move. You might even see a ghost in here. You never know.
Just go ahead and set it
never
up for
know.
when you're not here again, and Kelly and I are in here, and we hear a
Mhm.
noise, and we're like,
Ooh. Anyway, we got a camera in here, and the
Mhm.
same one we're using now, but we're leaving it on at nighttime just to see if we know where it is. We know where to go
Right.
look for it. But you might be scrolling around. So you never know.
well, we're testing a new system that we hope to
Yes.
have out soon.
Yep,
So
there
that's
you
what
go.
we're doing.
That's what we're up to. We're up to no good.
Yeah, we're up to no good. Believe it.
That's what's.
We're always up to no
Meanwhile,
good.
what kind of chirps? Do you ever hear any chirps? Does Robin not track you?
No.
You don't allow him, do you?
Mm-mm.
Do you track him?
No.
I don't believe Robin would ever do that to begin with. He just
It's
He just
it's too
if he
much.
does, he can't get up with me. He calls my friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Where's Kelly?
He called me one morning panicking, and she had told me where she was going when she
Mhm.
left the show. But at the time, I was on the phone with the bank,
Mhm.
and he just kept call me.
He
And
couldn't get up with me, but I was
then-
somewhere I couldn't have my phone.
so
So yeah.
I'm walking through the parking lot. I don't really remember. He goes, well, yeah, he was so upset. He thought something had happened to her. Then all of a sudden it went ding, ding, ding in my brain. Oh,
I was
that's
at the
right.
jail.
She did tell me where
You
she,
were at the jail.
I have a client
Yeah.
at the jail.
It's like,
Yeah, I
what's
had
she
to go
doing
see
at
him.
the
You can't
jail?
carry your phone in the jail.
I can't. No. Can
you carry a machete?
I can carry my phone in there, but my client gets real anxious. I get a lot of texts because my phone, emails,
Ding,
texts,
ding, ding,
and my
zzz,
client gets really upset.
and also people
Yeah.
tracking you.
Well,
there
as
ain't
her
nobody tracking
client,
me.
I would
Yeah.
appreciate it that she's giving me her full
Mhm.
attention.
Yeah.
So,
So
that's a
I
good
just
thing,
turn it
but
off. I had my phone with me, but it was off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
But he was. And
he was so upset. He even
he wa-
drove
he
down
thought-
to the jail to
because
make
that
sure
was
her
back
car
when
was
I was in
there.
the middle of a flare, and he thought something had happened to me. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
lupus flare.
sweet.
Yeah, and he called
You
it.
did good.
My
Rhonda.
daughter, he called my daughter. She didn't know, so then she's panicking. None of them had remembered that I had told him because I had told him, but
And
Lee
you
knew.
Did you tell him too?
but
And
he
he didn't
forgot.
remember?
My daughter forgot that nobody at the office remembered. I mean, what are y'all doing? Y'all not paying attention? That tells me nobody pays attention to what I say.
What?
Yeah, nice try. Yeah. So
Friday. Yeah. Okay.
We've talked a little bit this week. We've talked a couple of different days this week about mentioning the death penalty. We know
I asked you if you wanted to go to Oregon. We ain't even talked about why.
We're gonna go into Oregon here in just a little bit.
You should move there.
No,
Yeah.
they would not appreciate me there.
Me neither.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just will put it to you like that.
Mhm.
I'm going to give you the primary reason that critics of the death penalty are right when they claim that it does not serve as a deterrent, as proponents like me regularly claim that it does. In 2000, 22 years ago, a 16-year-old girl was raped and murdered in Mississippi. The scum accused of the brutal crimes was convicted in 2001, just a year later, and he was sentenced to death. Do the math, 21 years ago. 20 years after his sentence, after sitting on death row, his attorneys filed appeal after appeal after appeal, all in an effort to do nothing but delay the execution in hopes that the death penalty would be overturned across the nation. You got to understand where I'm coming from here. Defense attorneys, for an individual sentenced to death, they've got a job to do. They will file the appeals to make sure their client has been given a fair trial and that no stones have gone unturned. You want to make sure that this guy is not going to be railroaded.
Right.
You got to make sure of that. I mean, you only get one shot, pardon the pun, one shot at this. That's what our justice system is all about, making absolute sure that every effort has gone into proving beyond any reasonable doubt the guilt of the accused.
Wasn't that done in the trial?
Yes, but sometimes errors are made in trial.
Okay.
Wrong
got it.
decisions are
Understanding.
allowed by a judge,
Mhm.
wrong calls, bad evidence, wrong evidence, and there are a series of appeals that should be applied in a case like that. I agree with that. No problem with that. It goes much further than that. Each such case also gets the attention of the anti-death penalty squad, as well as the high-priced attorneys working for these folks, making sure the case stays active and the condemned stays alive, as they hope to find some little element that will send the death penalty to the graveyard once and for all. These groups are not concerned about the families of the victims. They're certainly not concerned about the brutal death of 16-year-old Lucia Marie Gray back in 2000. Thomas Loden was found guilty of 4 counts of sexual battery that occurred over 4 hours in the back of his van against the teenager before he strangled and suffocated the 16-year-old to death.
So sad.
The scum even pleaded guilty to all counts. And recently he said, "I've tried to do a different good deed every day since 2000. Justice finally came this week. He had his last meal and was given a lethal injection that first made him numb, then simply put him to sleep. Given a choice, I'm pretty damn sure his victim would have preferred such a peaceful death over the 4 hours he spent raping her in the back of his van after stopping to help her with a flat tire on her way home at 10 o'clock at night, then strangling her. All of this, as I said in the beginning, only proves the anti-death penalty crowd's claim that killing a scumbucket does not serve as a deterrent to others. Let's look again at the case. At the murdering scum in 2001, after he was found guilty, he pleaded guilty. With his case going through the automatic appeals required in death penalty cases, had been executed in perhaps 2002 or 2003, with the proper amount of attention given the execution, as was most assuredly given the rape and murder, as well as the trial, I will offer this fact, in my opinion, that it would offer at least some deterrent. Obviously, life without parole does nothing as far as deterrent. These guys who say, well, I could just live in prison for the rest of my life. It's okay. I can do that. That's the worst thing that's going to happen to me. Okay, I'll live a normal life. It's behind bars. I've been there before. It ain't that big a deal to me. 135 people on death row here in North Carolina confined, but they're alive and living better than our homeless hero veterans across this state today. Our legislature sucks in North Carolina.
Yeah.
You haven't taken steps to take care of this problem. Yes, we have an absolute do-nothing excuse for a governor. He's part of the problem. There is a moratorium on the death penalty in North Carolina. The reason there's a moratorium on it is because they that anti-death penalty crowd is doing everything that they can to do away with this death penalty once and for all.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just, the longer it goes in between executions, 2006 was the last one, the longer it goes, there are going to be people here, like one of our former co-hosts, that says, well, what's the difference? They're never going to execute them anyway. He has a point. He has a point. And that's disgusting. These individuals have been determined that they are meaningless excuses taking up space in our society at the price on death row of probably $120,000 a year of taxpayer dollars. 135 of them at $125,000 a year. You can do the math on that. That's a lot of money. Why? Don't we have other places for it? How many of our homeless vets could we take care of for that amount of money? Don't even want to disagree with me this morning.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. So nothing to disagree with.
16 years old, on her way home, guy pleads guilty to, okay,
That's
I
what I'm
stopped
saying.
and helped her change her tire, and then I threw her in the back of my van. I raped her over a period of 4 hours. Then I murdered her. I strangled her.
Mhm.
Do you know what it takes to kill somebody by strangling them? It's not an instant death.
I know it's not.
No.
Do you know what it takes to do that?
But he confessed.
And
Why?
he confessed to all of this.
Why did it take all this time? That's where part of the problem is.
That's where all of the problem
Yeah.
is.
Let's
They
just-
went through the appeals just to make sure his confession was legit. Because people
But how
out
many
there are
appeals did
stupid
they do?
too.
I think you should get one and done. One
Well,
appeal and that's
There's
it.
going to be a state appeal, then a court of appeals, and then
That's
the
just
Supreme
wrong.
Court, if necessary.
Mhm. Shouldn't happen that way, especially if you confess. He confessed.
Well, there are crazy people.
I
who
know there
confess
are.
all
That's
the
true
time. So
too. Yeah.
you can't really just do that as a blanket
True.
comment.
True.
You've got to make sure. But
I'm
there
gonna tell
is
you
an
right now, Reverend.
organization, the libtards out there, the anti-death penalty libtards, and their bank of very expensive attorneys that are dragging this guy. You want to know about cruel and unusual punishment? Guess who's guilty of it? Those people who are wasting this guy's last moments on earth by dragging him for years, and 20 years.
But it doesn't
through
take
the
20
system,
years.
dragging
Yeah.
him through the system for 20 years. That is cruel and unusual punishment. And that's done at the hands of not of his attorney. He was only the attorney of record.
Mhm.
He went through the appeals process
Mm-hmm.
with his client. He's now not on the payroll. All of the other anti-death penalty and their lawyers, where do they get their money?
I know you got to wonder.
Where do they get their money? They're expensive.
And how could they argue cruel and unusual when what he did, raping a 16-year-old girl for 4 hours and strangling her, how is that not cruel and unusual?
When they give him the needle, they give him the first dose, and it makes him very numb, pretty much good night.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stop him from breathing.
Yeah.
While he's asleep, he just goes to Never Never Land.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are going to be those who say, well, you know, that heart-stopping thing is such a traumatic thing. Who cares?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He
Well,
doesn't
know,
know anything about
Where was
it.
the cruel and unusual when he's
He-
raping her helpless in the back of a van and then
At age
choking
16.
her? Yeah. What?
At age
That's cruel and
16.
unusual. Not what they did
well,
to
I
him.
find people who protest have never been in another's shoes. I mean, imagine if it was your daughter or your granddaughter.
What if it's
Well,
somebody
they
you
wouldn't have
knew
found
even?
his body
Yes.
if it had been
I've
my
got
family.
that
I mean,
one.
I'm gonna
because
tell you
that's
right now.
I've got that one.
right.
I've got several of those.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would have just saved the state.
Oh, I would have
the
saved a ton of
process.
money. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Would have done it.
The vigilante group would have been
I'm
out.
telling you.
Not a vigilante. I believe in justice. Swift justice. 20 years dragging this thing through. And if you
Mhm.
feel for this guy whatsoever, why would you do that? It's not for him that you're doing it. You're a lying sack of crap if you say it's for him.
Well, who's it for?
It's for the
Yeah.
whole system, the anti-death penalty movement, and they're using him and the other 135 in North Carolina and all the others across the country. They're using them as part of their cause,
Yes.
whether they want it or not. You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME 910-333-0139. We'll be right back.
Oh, much better.
You know, I've told you before that one of the first things that will go bad on your boat if you use your boat and you're out there in the ocean or you're out there on the rivers and stuff like that, electronics they are kind of a little bit of could be a little bit of an issue
Mm-hmm.
if you don't maintain them,
Mm-hmm.
and if they get very old, guess what? New technology and all that makes the new stuff makes you a better fisherman because you can find the fish better, and makes you be able to communicate with places all up and down the East Coast Let's talk about for just a second. This is a commercial, but there was a sailboat missing this week out of Oregon, went out of Oregon Inlet.
I saw that. They ended up in Delaware.
And they were headed for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wait.
Let
I
me
didn't
see.
know that part.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. They were bound for Florida. And somebody took a wrong turn in the ocean. They had no
How
idea.
do you not know?
They had no idea where they were.
Didn't they have equipment?
They didn't have equipment that would reach shore. They couldn't talk to anybody.
Who gets on a boat with? Oh my Lord, Ray.
These
I'm
two men
I'm
did.
not a boater, and even I know that. But you
Yes.
take what you need.
Tide Line, and you take backup
Oh,
too.
my
Let me
Lord.
tell you what. Tide Line Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River. Don't get caught up in a situation like that. Yeah, they went way offshore in rough weather.
They're lucky
And
they
yeah,
didn't go to
their
Ireland.
motor did not work so well. Their little small motor on a sailboat. Then their sails probably got caught up in that north bound Gulf Stream or whatever.
What a hot
Anyway, they
mess.
found them off. They were able to flag down a
Mhm.
passing boat up there
Mhm.
off Delaware. I think Biden was on the other boat. By the way.
I don't
It was
know
the
that.
USS Joseph Biden
Mhm.
that they found. Anyway, they found them. They're all safe. That's the good part. The other people get out there, get lost, and are
Yeah.
never found.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching a movie last night. It was a true to life movie
Mhm.
in Australia where that occurred. The people were not prepared for what occurred, and it occurred suddenly.
Mhm.
Duh. Be prepared. Stop by Tideline Marine. Bring a list of the equipment that you've got aboard your boat. Let's talk about it. Let's find out if this is what you need. If is there something better that you need? It's not just to sell you something new. It's just to make sure that the stuff you got on board will do the job that you needed to do when you need it. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River
You're killing me with that.
in downtown Jacksonville.
Well,
A
it's
strong
prob-
cold front will approach today and push across the area tonight. Dry and cool. High pressure will build over the weekend and into early next week. That will result in a small craft advisory through Sunday morning. Winds today out of the south, 15 to 20, gusts to 25, seas 5 to big, 3 to 5 near shore. Dominant period 6 seconds. Sounds and rivers will be choppy. Tomorrow, westerly winds 15 to 20, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas coming down 4 to 6, still kind of big. Dominant period 7 seconds. And on Saturday, westerly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, seas 4 to 6, except 3 to 4 near shore.
Today, rain and thunderstorms, high of 68. Could be a little gusty today. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 45. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 57. Still a little bit gusty. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 38. On Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 55. Chilly.
Well. You know, we got a
Yeah.
gentleman on the line. He's one of those guys who absolutely disagrees with me half the time, and the other half he just hates me. And he's got some comments. He's a liberal.
Is
I
it-
I understand that. Good morning, Timmy. How are you?
Oh Lord, I thought you were talking about Doug for a
I
minute.
just
I'm
get ready
I
to say
did
Doug.
too.
Tim, I literally was about to
I
say,
was
oh,
waiting for
okay.
Doug to come on.
That's what I thought. I just, man, you just throw me for a loop. I'm flabbergasted.
I've been
Forgot-
doing that all morning.
Oh, my.
It's been ever since it turned
No,
Friday
no.
at midnight. I've been confused.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that way. I'm type 2 diabetic. Once in a while, I get confused. My buddy, you've been preaching on the subject I am is dear to my heart, and
I
I am
know it.
very, very pro death penalty. And I've over the years, I've had people say stuff to me like, why would you approve the death penalty? I says, well, you got to be in it to know it. And
Yep.
I'm not going to elaborate a whole lot. You probably know a lot about my history.
I
I'm pretty
do.
sure you investigated me. And I finally had one person just break down and cry one night, and I told him, I said, let me tell you how it is. I said, my son and his mother was killed in 1999. I said, we went to court in 2000. That's where I fell in love with Ernie Lee. He was assistant DA. And I told Ernie after the trial, but if and I cannot remember the old DA's name, he was very good. But I said, if he ever retires, you want his job, you got my vote.
Yep.
Just hadn't remembered it from
That was
life.
Bill Andrews or Dewey
Bill-
Hudson.
Dewey Hudson. I don't know why I cannot remember him. But I was sitting there and they were talking about. I said, "Let me put it to you this way." I said, "I saw the crime scene photo,
Hmm.
and I said, if you don't think it will make you sick to see pillow foam sticking out of the back of your dead son's body because he grabbed a pillow to try to protect himself, and when the guy shot, the foam went through his body and was sticking out his back." I said, if that don't make you want the death penalty, I don't know what will.
Exactly.
Now, folks, they showed me these because they knew, Ed Brown knew, all of them knew how I was, how I am, and they did not want me to get upset in court and do something stupid. That's not the place to do it.
Nope.
And I volunteered. Yes, I want to see. I want to see. And you were talking about the appeals, and the guy swept down. He was not going to appeal it, but it was appealed anyway. He died in the prison hospital with cancer. He went, he died, but 30 days. 30 days. Let's get it done in 30 days. If you're convicted of first degree murder and you get the death penalty, you got 30 days. But I'm telling you, folks, I've had them sit down and cry after I told, and I was a whole lot more graphic than I just was.
I am sure.
Mm-hmm.
And because I saw it all of it.
Got that
But
T-shirt.
no, I just want to say I'm with you, Rayford, on the death penalty. I don't understand why people are not, but they are, and this is America. You can think like you want, but now you will never get me to be anti-death penalty. I mean, I was pro-death penalty before that happened. Now, folks, you don't think I don't wake up in the middle of the night sometime with cold sweat? And that was in 1999, and here it is, 2022. I mean, Kelly, I'd probably wear your cast out, bud.
Come on.
You
can come on.
But,
Hey,
and I don't know.
we're going to have to get one of them double futons, you and me,
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, we'll sit right there and sing Kumbaya in between.
That's okay. Come on.
Folks, you got to understand. You got to understand. You got to live. I hope you never live it. But if you do live it, you will understand why people are pro-death penalty. And we've said it time and time again. You don't bury your children. Your children's supposed to bury you.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And that's it. That's what gets you in a nutshell. And thank the good Lord every day for keeping me the way I am. And I'm a solemn person. But folks, that's all I want to say. Brayford, you keep preaching that. Y'all have enjoyed the show. The sound has been a whole lot better today than it has been in a while. I don't know what y'all done.
Rayford fixed the mess
clear.
the gremlins made in
Okay.
here. Yeah. Little
Okay.
heathens
Well,
coming in here
sounds
turning
spectacular.
knobs. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Been
it sounds
working on it.
spectacular this morning.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, y'all have a good one. I'm going to get off here and quit ranting and raving. Y'all be good.
You be safe out there, Tim.
I like ranting and raving.
Me
I'm
too.
good with ranting
Me
and raving.
too. And
All right.
Rayford's Ranch. Can't beat it.
Ray-
I'm Steve now.
All right. I don't think I got another
All
one in
right,
me today, but I probably could come up with something.
I'm
We'll
telling
save
you,
it for
you
later.
need to
Thank
move.
Timmy.
You need to move to Oregon.
Tell me why. Let's
Yeah,
take a
let's-
break and
let's
then you
talk
tell me
about
why
I'll tell
I
y'all
need
why.
to move to Oregon.
Yeah.
You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. And we're back, and I want to go out to Oregon
You do.
just because you think I need to go there. I've never been to Oregon.
I don't want to go to Oregon. and
What's in
They have lost their
Oregon?
minds in Oregon, but I've always
Well, maybe
thought
I
they
can
were a
help
little
them
too
find
liberal for
them.
my taste. But the governor, Kate Brown, earlier this week.
No kin, by the way, no relation.
No, I know,
Yeah,
right?
no.
She
I
came
just
from a
realized
different
that.
clan.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord of
She
mercy.
commuted the death sentences of all of 17 inmates to life in prison because she says the death penalty is immoral.
That's not immoral.
Yeah.
It's immoral the way we're
Yeah.
not using it.
And they took the commutations took place yesterday, effective yesterday. Yep.
Oh, no.
So they will know. She says, I am commuting Oregon's death row so that we will no longer have anyone serving a sentence of death and facing execution in this state.
Why don't
Well,
you just
there you
turn them
go.
loose
Yeah.
and invite them home with you, Kate?
She's leaving office next month.
Yeah,
now
take
you
them
know
home
why.
with you. Maybe they could help you into your yard or something. You got a daughter? Maybe they'll help you out there.
Mhm.
Good morning. Who's this?
Whew.
Hey, good morning, guys. It's
Hey,
Steve. How you doing today?
I'm fine.
I thought you were talking about me when you said somebody only agrees with you half the time.
I did
had to
too,
look at
but
my
I-
phone to make sure I didn't accidentally dial.
I thought it was Doug. Then you popped into my head too. So I
Yes.
thought it could be Steve.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made me think of me.
Yeah.
Well,
Man, what a topic. Mercy. First thing I'd like to say is what you were speaking on, Rayford, as far as the death penalty as a deterrent. I think there's an inherent problem with that, is that I believe most of the people who are guilty of that are mentally unstable. And I tell you the same thing I tell people when take away the guns. The death penalty ain't going to cure crazy.
oh, it won't cure
Yeah.
crazy.
I think some
And-
people are just mean though.
Let me.
I
I know there's other elements. Let me interject just a little bit. You ain't going to solve. You're not going to provide a deterrent to anybody and everybody. But there will be that element out there. If it saves 2, 3, 4, I mean, we hear it all the time. If it can just save the life of one person. Well, if we can convince one idiot out there with a gun not to shoot when he goes into the store to rob the store, is it worth it?
On situations like that, I tend to look back at history. And, we've even had times and points in human history where we've had public executions.
Yep.
And it is a deterrent, but not for crazy people. It has never worked for homicidal maniacs throughout history. They still.
Not every person in prison on death row or has been convicted of a capital crime is a homicidal maniac.
No,
There are some
just
people
mean.
out there that are just mean,
Mhm.
that have lived a life of crime their entire lives, and that killing is just okay.
I agree.
I mean, I would say that anybody who does that's on some level, they're not right.
Well, we can agree on that one.
I can't really, speak professionally on that, but I believe, at least there's something ain't right up there.
Well, I'm going to turn to my professional to my left, and I don't mean to say that she's leaning on my left side, but anyway, Kelly, is everybody that commits a crime, are they murder, are they homicidal maniacs, or are they just sometimes mean?
Some are just mean.
You deal with them.
I've had a client like
Evil.
that. Yeah.
And see, I would think that the ones that do it just because they're mean, or the ones that are really mentally unstable, the ones that do it out of passion, that's a momentary thing. The ones that are just mean, they're crazy all the time.
Well, look at Ted
Yeah.
Bundy. I think he's a prime example
Mean.
of just mean. I mean, he was
Yeah.
very intelligent.
Mhm.
He was methodical. You have that, and then it's. I mean, not everybody is how some people just say crazy. They're just not.
Yeah, we can.
I was going to say, maybe not what you would think of as,
Yeah.
like stereotypical crazy, but do you think Ted Bundy was mentally stable?
I think he was mentally stable,
I
but
think
I
he
don't
was
think he
mentally
was not
stable.
normal. Obviously,
He wasn't normal, but he
had
was
some
mentally
screws loose,
stable,
but
and he
he knew what he was doing.
he was very methodical, and he
Yeah.
was very deliberate in what he did. And I think had he not been caught, he would have continued.
There's no
He
doubt
would
about
not have stopped.
Well, I mean, just because somebody's smart and intelligent don't mean they're mentally stable.
Well,
Yeah.
mentally
But
stable,
anyway,
there's different degrees of it. And
right.
so I mean, you could argue that no human is mentally stable.
Except me.
So
Yeah. I guess you could,
Yeah.
extrapolate it out that far.
Yeah.
But I mean, when somebody does such horrific acts,
Mhm.
I would consider that a something wrong, in the wiring in their brain.
Well, sometimes
For them
it's
to be able to
perception.
do that.
Um,
But and they may, under normal circumstances, appear completely normal, but they're completely crazy. You just can't tell it on the surface. Yeah.
well,
But
some people,
anyway, like I say, you're a professional. You probably know way more than that than I would even begin to. But anyway, but like I say, I don't think that would be a deterrent. I think that definitely, when y'all talk about that case that you were just talking about, it makes my hands start shaking when I think about that. It makes me so upset. And if you put me in a room with that person, please don't do that, because in a short amount of time, I'm going to commit homicide as well, and then I'm an evil person.
No, you're not.
Now I'm not saying that our motivation. We're both at that point. We're both murderers. It's just our trigger point's different.
There's justifiable homicide out there too.
Yes.
And in this case, that would be justifiable.
And I don't deny you that. I don't deny you that, but the end result's still the same. If you put me in a room with that person, at the end of it, I'm probably going to be standing over somebody that I've brutally murdered.
There you go.
I mean, and so please don't do that. If that,
that is not the way that's not the way we operate in this country, Steve. We have a system, and I argued for the system, and I argued for including the appeals. 2 years of appeals is enough to get them through the system. If you didn't have it going on for 4, 5, 6, 8 years, you wouldn't have to deal with it as often. I mean, you could get through the system and move forward. And if you got some case that is just such a case that is going to make it all the way to the Supreme Court, so be it. You'll find out within the first 2 years. After that, no, sir. Done. Situation resolved.
The reason why I tell you about the room is to tell you what side I come down on it on.
Okay.
Is that, yes, I feel exactly the same way you do. I have a rage builds inside of me when I even hear of those stories. I don't like to hear them,
Well,
but that being said, how effective is our death penalty? How long does it take to get for there? How many people die on death row of natural causes?
More that are executed.
So is it really even worth battling over?
Yes.
I mean, if you give them life in prison and without parole, and it means that, they're going, if they're in there for life anyway, going through the appeal process, how's it different? I mean, I ain't saying we should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that it's a mess, and common sense needs to be applied to it. If the people aren't getting executed anyway,
remember James Earl Ray?
Do I?
You remember James Earl Ray?
James Earl.
James Earl Ray.
Sounds familiar, but
yeah, he killed Martin Luther King.
Right. Okay.
He escaped from prison while he was in there.
Did not know that.
You didn't know that. Okay. So, first of all, the death penalty will do one thing: guarantee you they're never going to get out, whether it's escape or appeal or whatever else. Gets some liberal bunch of Looney Tune parole groups, parole commissions, cut them loose. Guarantee that's not going to happen, right? 2, this is a guarantee. It ain't going to cost us for the rest of their natural lives $150,000 or so per year to keep that sucker alive. Then I will still argue that there is a deterrent. But 2 out of 3, you cannot argue. We got to take a break. You're live on Local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. We'll be right back. Okay, and we about run out of time in this block, and so they want to give us a rejoin. So, Steve, I think you're still there for just a minute. Got a closing remark?
Yeah, I just wanted to say y'all have a wonderful day, and I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you, Steve.
Steve.
I wanted you to hold on. I
Yeah.
had to get in that break because we were
That's all
up
right.
against the wall.
I fully
on that one.
understand.
All
That's
right.
some heartbreak.
Yep, you
Well,
got
y'all
it.
have a blessed day.
Thank you,
too,
sir.
Steve.
All right, we're back here for just a second, and that second has just run out. It is now 8 a.m. Fox News is next. We'll be back in 60. You're live and local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. And okay, I wonder if I can come up with something else to rant and rave on this morning. I'm
Well, I got some.
okay.
I don't
It's
know.
local.
Oh, right, good.
Yeah.
Oh, local. Go
So
ahead.
apparently, and I just don't understand it. So I'm hoping somebody from the Jacksonville City Council will call in. So Jacksonville City Council, or City of Jacksonville, I should say, is facing another lawsuit
Yeah.
where some small business owners and some food truck people
Oh my.
are suing them. And I'm on the side of the food truck people. I'm sorry, I just am. And the goal of the lawsuit is to strike down 3 different City of Jacksonville regulations imposed by the city on food trucks and or property owners who wish to welcome food trucks onto their property. So apparently, 96% of the City of Jacksonville do not allow food trucks to operate.
What do you mean 96%?
Like,
Of the
in other
people
words,
or locations?
Okay, so in other words, property owners, so let's say you have a business.
Yeah.
It's Rayford's business. Okay. You cannot have a food truck on your property, on Rayford's property,
How come?
if it falls within 250 feet of a property that has another food truck, a restaurant, or residential housing. And yeah. So in other words, if a popular thing in, like, I have a client lives in Hampstead, so I'm gonna use them as an example. Their neighborhood, they host food trucks once a week in
I
the
was gonna
neighborhood.
say,
Yeah.
how about construction sites?
Yeah.
It
Can't
used to
have
be
it.
a really big thing
Yeah,
at a construction
yeah.
site.
And one of my
All over the
clients,
country, it's a big thing.
they
at
have some
construction sites.
amazing food trucks down there. Well, here, if I wanted to have a food truck come to my neighborhood, according to Jacksonville
To have
City,
something like a block party.
you have like a
Yeah.
block party, and that's
Huh.
what happens with, like, my client. They'll say they put out like a thing once a week on they have like a Facebook page for the neighborhood,
Uh-huh.
and they'll say, okay, tonight we got the taco truck. There's a taco truck coming, and my client said it's amazing. But anyway, so all the neighbors that don't want to cook or whatever, and they usually do it on Fridays, but sometimes they do a different day of the week, especially in the summer. But all the neighbors that don't want to cook, it's good for you. 1, you don't have to cook. 2, the neighbors all get out and talk to each other. 3, the food truck. It's a win-win.
I wouldn't mind a food truck coming down
That's
the
what I'm
street like the
saying.
ice cream truck
I would
does.
love it. And so City of
Do they
Jacksonville
still
does
have ice cream trucks?
Yes.
Yes,
They've
but
got donut
imagine a
trucks, got a
taco
cake
truck.
pop truck. Yeah.
So instead of hearing
Yep.
the little music for the ice
Yeah.
cream truck, you're going to hear the
The music for the food.
the Mexican music,
Yeah.
and here comes the taco truck.
Or
I'd
the
run
Italian,
out.
or the pizza truck, or
Yes.
the the donut truck, whatever
I'd
it
be
is.
out there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't
Uh-oh.
understand the City
I
of
would love it.
They're gonna
Jacksonville.
have blue
And
lights on the top of it.
well, what's the difference between this and the fact we got restaurants side by side to each other?
Well,
what is the difference?
Let me ask you. Now you've got and I'm just going to be the other
Mhm.
guy for a minute.
Okay.
You've got restaurants in town
Yeah.
who spend a lot of money building a restaurant, furnishing the restaurant, doing all of this stuff, applying for all of the permits, and there are a lot of permits to go through.
Mhm.
Forget the health department; that's just another part of it. But
Correct.
you got city
Mhm.
permits you got to deal with. I mean, they go through a lot to be able to set up a business. Then, if a food truck comes parks next door to them in a vacant lot,
Mhm.
and I don't, let's suppose it is one of the Mexican restaurants, so called, and
Mhm.
they're doing tacos and doing that stuff, and so the taco truck comes parked next to them and undercuts them.
But that's a free market enterprise.
But I'm just asking,
But what's the problem? I don't have a problem with that. What is the problem?
just asking. These other guys have gone to a lot of expense
Well,
to
so is
operate
the
in the
food truck
city.
people.
To operate in the city.
Yeah.
Do the food trucks pay any privilege licenses to
Yes,
operate in the
they
city?
have
No,
to pay,
wait a
have to
minute.
do a
Now, like on National Night Out, don't they have several food trucks that are all parked in
Yes.
a certain area? So
Correct.
it's more than one.
So what's the difference?
That's right.
They have an annual permit fee of $300 for residents or $500 for non-residents.
Okay.
It's a much higher fee than neighboring towns. Once again, who is the city to dictate my choice of where I want to eat?
Well,
Mhm.
you know, they fought for a long, hard time to get into and be able to go into the
Well,
city.
Yeah, in the
apparently
past, they
they're
could
still
not
not
do it at
allowed
all.
to.
Right.
That was a barely looks
Well,
like
they're allowed to now, but there's restrictions on
there's
it
big
all.
restrictions. They've restricted, like I said, what is the difference if a food truck falls within 250 feet of another restaurant and a restaurant there's one here and one right next door? What is the difference?
Mhm.
I want to know. So somebody from Jacksonville City Council, I want to know.
Well, what would keep that restaurant for just going ahead and getting their own food truck and parking it right next door or something?
Well, there's one. The Borough restaurant does have its own
Yes.
food truck too.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. But like, where is the, I want to know, where is the choice? I'd love for a food truck to come into my neighborhood.
Oh, I would
I would
too.
keep that food. Look, y'all
You
think
just
I'm
don't-
lying about
you
how
just
much
don't wanna
Amazon.
cook.
I don't want to cook.
There
Oh,
you
I'd
You
go.
keep
doggone
it
right. I'm
busy.
not going to lie about it. Come
Well,
on
they're
to my
cooking for
door.
us, so why should we
Come
cook?
to my neighborhood. I will keep a food truck in business quick if it's something I can eat.
We're all
Good
going to
morning.
meet.
Who's this?
Good morning. Good morning. I don't want to cook either. My name is Bridget, and I'm listening, and I'm just wondering, isn't Sam's in the city limits?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. And isn't Logan's right across the street
Yes.
from Sam's?
Yep.
Yes.
And don't they have that donut food truck? And sometimes once a month, I believe they have 5 to 10 food trucks at the end of their parking lot,
Yes.
right across the street from Logan's.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many, but I have seen a variety of different food trucks out there in the Sam's
There's at
parking
least
lot. Yes.
10 because they make the circle at the end of the parking lot.
Okay.
So, they're straight across and then they're going up to the left.
Okay.
So why can they do it and somebody else can't do it?
Oh,
Well,
I don't know.
according to this, it actually addresses that on this article. It says Sam's Club is one of the few places food truck owners can operate, but it often fills up before a spot can be snagged.
So why are they operating?
They must be limiting the how many can go into that Sam's, and it doesn't make sense. Like none of this makes sense. It sounds to me like maybe and I'm going to throw this out there. I
go,
live in
girl.
the city and I pay double taxes, so I am going to throw it out there to the
Yes,
city
the rest
council
of us
people because
here,
I'm
yes.
very curious and I'm going to start posing this question to them. Why it almost seems to me like some of these business owners may be influencing these city councils to try to keep these food trucks from being able to operate. And there is 10 billion restaurants in this town. They're building another one. They tore the Ruby Tuesdays down, which
Yeah.
to me is unnecessary. Okay. Why? Who cares, whether or not people want food trucks? Why does it matter? But I feel like that the city council is being swayed by a lot of these businesses, which I don't like. I think it's just a bunch of BS. And let me be clear. I don't know anybody that owns a food truck. So I'm not advocating for anybody I know.
And,
But
and neither do I.
But I
really
want a
don't,
food truck. I live in the Commons. I would love for a food truck to drive through my neighborhood so I could buy dinner or set up in find a vacant lot and set up, like do a little food truck rodeo. I don't understand
do
why.
it.
Yeah.
They're on the corner on Tiny Green Road. I live in Hubert. So
Okay.
they're on the corner of Piney Green Road at Dollar General. I'm sorry if I'm announcing somebody's business, but and you've got the lobster truck that comes up Swan's World at that 34 Club.
Yeah.
You know, they announce where they're going to be
Yes.
at, just like the donut.
Yes.
Back in the symbol there, the donut truck was at Walmart last
Okay,
weekend.
now let's back up to the lobster truck
Yeah,
for just a second.
I've heard
Got
it's
my
very
attention.
good, Raven, and I've
Now,
heard
is
that
this-
lobster
is-
truck's very
is
good.
this something that they prepare as food to give you, or is it something you can get the
No, it's
live
prepared.
It's
It's food.
I've never
It's
used
food.
it,
Like a
so-
lobster roll, for example. Like
Oh.
you go up
Yeah,
and buy
lobster
like
rolls.
a
Yeah, you're getting
yeah,
a lobster roll.
Gotcha.
Yes,
yeah.
All right.
but it is fresh lobster. So
And I've heard it is amazing. I don't eat
it-
lobster, but yeah.
They say it's amazing.
Yes, I've heard that as well. But I agree. And see, here's the thing: that area down at Piney Green Road, that's county.
It
Yeah.
is.
So they can
It
do
is.
that. And I just think that the city of Jacksonville needs to pull their head out of the sand a little bit and change these restrictions, because these restrictions just make zero sense to me. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I want
Well, I
somebody
live in
to
the
tell
county.
me why.
I'm fortunate to live in the county
Yeah.
because I don't have to pay double taxes, thank God.
That's why I want
But
to
I've been born and reared right here my whole life,
Yeah.
67 years. So I agree with you, but I was just listening because I do every morning, and
Thank you.
I'm like,
I want a food truck in
how
my
is Sam's
neighborhood.
getting away from it,
Yeah. I want a food truck to drive through my neighborhood, like Lee said, like an ice cream truck. And I
Yeah,
promise
ice cream
you,
truck can do it.
I
Right.
will keep them in business. I guarantee
Well,
a lot of people on my street will.
Let me call one of the plaintiffs in this lawsuit and see if they'll come on.
Yeah, we'll try.
Call
All
them.
right.
I
All right.
Well,
want
I'm
to
going
know.
to hang up and listen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Rich.
you very much.
We appreciate it. And we have another caller. Good morning. Who's this?
This is Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey,
What's
Mike.
up?
Hey, I got to disagree with Kelly. I don't want a food truck in my neighborhood. I want multiple.
I'm with you. Yes. Yes. I want to get my food,
I-
my dessert, all of it. They even have I've seen a daiquiri truck, and I don't even like
Oh,
daiquiris.
no.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
bring it
saying, I've
on.
seen one. So
I think it'd be cool if
you get
3 or
everything.
4 or 5 came riding through and they
Yes.
just
Yes.
posted up for a little while. They probably make good business like that, and the city should probably rethink it and allow them to set up over at like the Commons, because I used to coach over there, and they'd be helping parents out because they don't have to rush and cook, and they could go
Agreed.
straight to the games and buy food and watch softball games
Mhm.
and basketball games and volleyball games. And,
You're
they
100% right. Good idea.
city shouldn't
Yeah.
be telling them that they can't,
Well, the
have their
argument
truck.
that it harms restaurants, I don't buy, considering how many restaurants we have in this town and how many more we're trying to put up in here. So I cannot buy the argument that it affects restaurants' businesses, because I call BS on it. If they're going to try to spout that, I call BS on it. And here's the other
Oh,
thing.
yeah, they're-
According to this, the city plans to fight that lawsuit, which makes me believe that they are going to use my ridiculous amount of taxpayer money that I pay to live in the city of Jacksonville over this bunch of nonsense.
they need to think about their citizens in the end, because they would like it, and it would help. It'd be a benefit to them.
Well, I think if I
That's
were a
what it
city
boils
council
down to.
member, I would take
I
notice.
guarantee you, if they put it to the vote,
Yeah,
the food trucks would win.
I guarantee. Yeah, ask the public what they want, but no one ever does. No one ever
No, they
does.
Maybe we can get the new city manager on.
See, this
and,
makes me
and
want to
Yeah.
run for
have
city
him,
council.
Chat
Alright.
about it.
Let
just
me
to
write
get
that
on
down.
there.
City manager.
Yeah, I may have to. I don't even like anything about politics. I may have to run for city council just to try to get on there and make some changes to the city of Jacksonville.
Oh Lord.
Oh, Lord help us all.
Yeah,
Well, you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Mike. Appreciate it.
I like that multiple. I'm with him. Yeah, definitely multiple.
And I'm sitting back thinking, I see places like little flea markets and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And the one that was out there, the farmer's market,
Mhm.
it always had 2 or
Right.
3 or 1
Well,
or 2 anyway.
But that's
food
county.
trucks.
But like Lee brought
But
up,
there's a flea market
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it on farmer's market on New Bridge Street during the
Yeah.
summertime.
Yeah.
Once a week, is
That's
it? Or
true.
something like that.
Yeah.
Um, what I personally I would think that a food truck in the downtown area
Hmm.
where the people
By the courthouse.
because you don't
yeah.
the guys who work downtown, they work in the courthouse, the ladies
Mhm.
who work in the courthouse, the folks who do not have, they have limited amount of time. When the judge says, okay, we're going to take a 1 hour break,
Mhm.
wham,
Right.
you
It's-
got to get and get.
And
Yeah.
then hope you can find a parking
Yeah.
place when you get
Right.
back.
So if you could just walk outside into the spacious parking lots, there are 2 or 3 of them downtown,
Mhm.
and you could walk out there, and there are 1 or 2 food trucks set up for
Right.
lunch. I don't have a problem with that.
I just.
The 1 or
yeah.
2 restaurants that are downtown right now,
Mhm.
they cannot take care of all of the business that's going to happen
No.
in a timely fashion.
That's right.
But what happened to being a free, people always talk about free market society and whatever. What is that only a term used when it suits somebody's own interests?
Probably, we're going to have to find out what the other side is. I do not know what the
Yes.
city side is.
Yes.
But I would like to know. And why, but my question becomes to the city of Jacksonville is what is the objection to the food trucks? Why are you so opposed to it? Now I know what I've been told on the DL is one of the
Well,
reasons.
the only thing that I've been told in the past is
Mhm.
because they're trying to make sure that their businesses that have been set up and been operating for years are still protected. Because you know bloody well it's a lot of money to maintain brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
Much more so than it
Mhm.
is you're paying property
Absolutely.
taxes on the location,
Mhm.
as you've already pointed out,
Mhm.
double property taxes when you're downtown or
Yep.
anywhere else in Jacksonville.
Yep.
You're paying city and county taxes. I can understand, but then I need an explanation.
But if I have a business, if I have Kelly's business, whatever,
Mhm.
let's say I sell shoes, okay,
Yeah.
and I want 3 food trucks in my parking lot, according to this, I can't do that.
Correct.
Why?
Because you're selling shoes. They don't want shoe people.
But my point is, why would the city of Jacksonville have an objection to that?
I don't know.
This whole thing is dumb, and I want to know.
Well, we need to ask.
Mhm.
I
Who can we get on here to ask?
I don't. Well, city manager's always
Mhm.
got his or her hands on
Or city attorney.
city attorney.
That'd
Maybe
be
Yeah.
John Carter, according to
Right.
this.
Yeah. So
Well, he released a statement that they're going to. He will be advising council in a closed session on January. Of course, it'd be a closed session. Of course.
Oh, that's a legal matter.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Legal matter.
Here's all the food vendors may only set up on property that is zoned corridor commercial or industrial.
But if I have a Kelly shoe business, I am commercial.
Yeah, well, if you're, yeah, I'm sure you
But
would have already
according to
been.
this, it says if they're near a restaurant or whatever, I would love to see what the city of Jacksonville's ordinances involving food trucks are. Because I
Right. There
guarantee
shall
they're
be
full
a
of
maximum
nonsense.
of 1 food vendor per lot, except in accordance with the city-sponsored or other special event.
Mhm.
So we've seen
a
that.
national night out.
Right. And any food vendor shall be at least 250 feet away from any parcel containing a food vendor, a low density, medium density, high density residential or downtown residential
far is-
zoning district
Well, hold on. How far is 250 feet, Rayford?
or a
A
restaurant.
little less than a football field.
Okay. Well,
Goalpost
on
to
Western
goalpost.
Boulevard, you got Outback, and right next door you have Waffle House, and right next to that you have Wendy's. That's not 250 feet apart.
No.
So what's the difference?
And they're limited to the hours. It's only 6 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Well,
Well, that's most restaurants. That especially if
think
they
that would
serve
be fairly
alcohol.
reasonable.
Oh, I was thinking
Yeah.
I was thinking 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. I just want to know what the difference is. Then what would stop me from going and buying a piece of land at the end of Western Boulevard, for example,
money.
and well, yeah, but I mean, getting a bunch of investors together and then keeping food trucks permanently there. So if anybody wants to, they can go and choose what they want. What's the difference? Apparently,
go.
according to this, I can't do that.
Well, we don't know why. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey guys, this is Steve again.
Hey,
Sorry
Steve
to double
again.
call, but anytime I got a different perspective, I like to throw it out there.
Shoot.
Look at it from this point of view, maybe. Is it a free market if you make one group of people jump through all these hoops in order to open their business, and then you let somebody else with a minimal investment come in there and circumvent all those regulations?
No.
I mean, I like the food trucks, and I mean, I'm for them, but I can understand how it's not really fair if you make somebody in a brick and mortar establishment go through all these extra regulations.
Well, the food
that you
trucks
don't
have
make
to
this-
be inspected as well.
Only with health
Yes,
They
department.
With the
do,
health
but
department,
they don't have
yeah.
to be permitted. They don't have to be permitted the way Rayford's talking about. Well, he was talking about where they have to be permitted by the city and the county,
Yeah.
and they have to go through all these inspection processes before they get to the health inspection.
Well, according to this, you
And-
have to pay for a city permit. It's
That's
an annual.
just a what
Right.
we call a privileged
Right,
license.
but that's not building a structure. That's not all the plumbing, electrical, sanitation, all those permits that you have to go through.
See,
And
the
so,
one thing
from
that
that perspective,
yeah, the one thing that I would argue while you're on that particular topic, people stop by these vendors, food trucks. If you have a brick and mortar location, you're going to have restroom facilities, right?
right? Yeah,
Food truck.
and
Are there any porta potties out there?
no, and that's what I'm saying. They're able to circumvent all these regulations that brick and mortar businesses can't.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to have insurance if you have a brick and mortar business that you don't have to carry if you've got a truck you pull around. So, I mean, it kind of makes it from the brick and mortar business, it's unfair to them that you let somebody pull up in the parking lot next door and set up a bunch of picnic tables and they've got an outdoor restaurant and they ain't had to pull no permits. They don't have to have no restrooms. They don't have to have, all these things they don't have to do. So I can see it from both sides.
Well, we're not asking to do that. We're just asking if I have a business and I want the taco truck in my parking lot, I should be able to have that. If I'm paying,
I agree with that totally.
I don't mean setting up picnic tables and all that stuff.
So-
I'm talking
Right,
about,
I'm
or if Kelly wants a food truck to ride through Jacksonville Commons neighborhood, which is where I live, doggone, I should be able to have one.
Well, you
And I
do
can't
know
get
they
one.
have these auto wash companies that do detail washing that'll come right to your business, to your
here's the
parking
thing.
lot.
Yeah. What's the difference?
Let me put this out there, though, Kelly. If you had that shoe store
Mm-hmm.
and then you went through all the things you had to do to have an actual brick and mortar business, and then somebody came up and set up a swap meet and right beside you selling knockoff shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And would you be okay with that? Would that still be free market? Or
I
you
would be
feel that
okay
was
with it,
unfair because
But that's how I think. Yeah. Because I know I'm still
I mean,
in business. Because I'm gonna have my loyal
yeah, but
customers no matter what.
If they were directly affecting your business, or you felt they were, the same thing. If you wanted a taco truck in your parking lot, but the people right next door own a Mexican restaurant, that wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't do that to those people. I don't believe.
Well, it's
You
no
know what I'm
different
saying?
than I'm a counselor. We got counseling people right next door. I don't care that they're next door. It don't hurt my business at all. I could care. I've
Yeah,
even
that's
sent some
quite a
people over
bit
there.
different, though.
But it's
Yeah,
the
that's quite a
same
bit different.
principle. How?
Because you're comparing apples and oranges.
I don't see
you
how
don't
I
have
am.
therapists don't have a rush hour right off the bat. You don't have a lunch hour for therapists where all the businesses is in one little short window and you have to make your money in spurts. throughout
Well,
the
yeah,
day.
I disagree with that.
Basically,
Because-
a counselor business or something very similar to that is a destination. It's somebody that already knows. It's not a walk-in.
Mhm.
Restaurants are walk-in places, generally speaking. You may or may not know exactly where you're going. You drive along. You say, "Hey, I want to go in there." You don't drive along and say, "Hey, Kelly's counseling couch," and walk in.
Well, it depends because a lot of people are looking for very specific hours that
Mhm.
they want counseling in. Very
What-
specific.
They're going to do their homework and make a call.
What's the difference between me figuring out what restaurant I want? There's no
Yeah,
difference.
Well, if you're running a brick and mortar business and somebody rolls up in the parking lot next to you right there at the rush hour, and and siphons off part of your business during your busy hour, and then they pull out and go somewhere else as soon as the business is gone, that's kind of an unfair advantage, over you as a brick and mortar business.
But not everybody
And
may
like I
not
said-
like my brick and mortar business. I can name about 10 restaurants right now I'll never set foot in because I don't like their food. What's the difference?
And I get that, but if there's no food trucks in the parking lot and those people see your restaurant, then their choices are more limited, and you're gonna have a higher traffic. If there's food trucks, it's gonna divide up the people. Some are gonna go to the food trucks, some are gonna go to. It's inherently gonna affect their business, and Anyway, like I say, I made my point. You know, that the brick and mortar businesses, if you make them jump through all them hoops, it's not fair to let somebody circumvent all those regulations and sit up right beside them doing the same thing. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Hey, Steve,
thanks for
thank
your
you.
time,
Appreciate
guys.
it, sir.
I appreciate it.
Let's take a break here. Live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And we're back, and we've got a caller who's been patiently waiting. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, how you doing, Jeanette?
Hey, Jeanette. What's going on?
So I'm just going to say that I have to call up for Kelly's sake and the fact that I wholeheartedly disagree with Steve. And one thing nobody discussed about these food trucks is the amount of revenue that they could bring in versus these big brick and mortar places that do have a lot of regulations and don't compare to the regulations with a mobile food truck. So as far as like saying, well, they're going to take away business from places, most places in Jacksonville are actually corporate. So if a truck pulls up in front of Olive Garden or Outback, these corporate companies are making millions of dollars. And it's the mom and pop food trucks, which I know personally someone who has a food truck, who works extremely hard to bring their talent and their opportunity to share their food with the community. So, I mean, for years, we've had ice cream trucks. For over 50 years, ice cream trucks came through neighborhoods with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody wants to cry brick and mortar. I completely disagree. The amount of revenue that a brick and mortar brings in can facilitate the means to have the restaurants, to have the licensing. The reason that the food truck laws and regulations are set up is because it's a mobile unit where one day, yes, they could be there or not. I don't know of any places in Jacksonville that setting up picnic tables or anything.
Same.
Most people are on a run to get something to eat and leave and go back to work or go home.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Agreed.
the reality of the food trucks
Yeah.
in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
If you were living in New York City, you'd have a food truck every 10 feet. So there's no real fact that food trucks actually hurt businesses. They actually bring business. Because Kelly's shoe store, who might have a donut truck in front of it, the day I want to bring my kids for donuts, I really wasn't looking for shoes, but now I'm going to because you're parked in front of
Good
there.
point.
So
Yeah.
it's actually, the facts are the completely opposite. Bringing more food trucks into the community only drives up revenue. And lastly, this is America. For the pursuit of happiness and the freedom to build your business, it absolutely, it doesn't matter whether you're in the city or I'm in Jacksonville, just shy of the city on the county line. You should be able to put a food truck either place. I totally disagree.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I do appreciate your
Yeah.
call. The only
Yeah.
thing that I would say is if I owned Outback and you brought a food truck into my parking lot, you're going to have a problem.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't be
Well,
allowed in the same parking lot as
Yeah,
another.
listen,
Not a
the parking
restaurant.
lots are the business. Yeah, they own the parking lot or the rights, and they're paying for the cleaning and the maintenance of a parking lot. But if somebody wants, I mean, they're like she said, there's so many places that have the same type of establishment directly next. If you can't get tacos at Mi Cabana, you go across the street to Taco Bell.
Mhm.
That's you have a different variety, and they're not selling the same exact product. No one here has the same. I mean, they're a little. If Circle K can open up across the street from Circle K, they're offering this. It's ridiculous to think that they're taking business away from these brick and mortars that are making millions upon millions of dollars to pay those regulations and those bathrooms. These mom and pop people who come in and try to get a truck together and share their delicious food and how many variety of foods that, like the donut truck, where's the other 200 donut trucks that they're competing with? They're not. Let these people put their trucks up. I'm 100% on Kelly's side.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Very
Yeah.
good. Question for you.
You
Question
guys-
for you.
You guys have a great day. Take
Suppose
care.
you're operating a one of these food trucks,
hmm
and
Go ahead.
and you're parked right next door. If you want to say if you managed to find a place right next door to a I don't know, even a fast food restaurant. Okay, let's compare apples to
Sure.
apples here, sort of, except brick and mortar as opposed to wheels. And then suddenly the people that are going to your food truck, you notice them. You're running the McDonald's, and they're coming into your store, using the bathroom, and doing everything else except buying your food. Would you have a problem with that?
Well, most people won't be doing
Would you
that.
have a problem with that?
They,
And I think you will.
personally
People
wouldn't
will
because
do that.
That is but that's not the reality. Everybody's doing the what if. The taco truck that's not far parked from my house on Piney Green Road and Rocky Run is parked right in front of the convenience store. And obviously the owner makes an agreement because they bring a lot of business.
Mhm.
It's something that you're not going to park or put another truck in the same vicinity. Like if you want to stay 100 feet away, if you're selling tacos, you can't sell tacos. But to 250 feet from a restaurant or a residential neighborhood, is a ridiculous sighting. That's absolutely, but you could be in the county of Jacksonville, and that's okay. So I hate to say it, Kelly, I'm in the county, so I can have 200,
I
food trucks
know.
come up and down my block to patronize them for dinner, but you can't.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I
Let's
agree.
just Kelly. Let's just go to her house.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why
Sit on the
Kelly
front
wants to move
porch.
into
Yeah.
the county. She wants to leave the city.
I do want to leave the
Come on
city. Yeah,
Hey,
Yeah.
thank
Lower
you.
taxes and right outside the county and still in Jacksonville.
that's what I
But
want.
it's not.
Yeah,
That's a shame. So hopefully the city council will do the right thing.
I hope
And
so.
these food truck vendors will truly show the statistics and the reality and the revenue and the facts. And if anybody is for a mom and pop business, family oriented, they have, with all this corporate stuff going on, with Black Friday and then Cyber Monday, everybody wants to do Small Business Saturday.
Mhm.
That's exactly what these food trucks are.
Yeah, there
They're
are
your-
small
they're your
businesses.
neighbors.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yep,
thanks.
exactly.
Thank you
Well,
for
thank
the
you, guys. I
call,
appreciate it.
and thanks for being a
Thank
listener.
you.
We do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right. Tie Line Marine, one of those small businesses here in town, and they might even like to have a food truck there
Mhm.
from time to time especially when they're running special sales or
Mhm.
when they have a boat show or
Ooh.
things like that. Might be a good little idea. They've actually
Yes.
requested that in the past, but they couldn't get it happen. That was not on the drawing board. Tie Line Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. They got some specials for you right now. Things are out there on the display counters. If you're going to a Christmas party,
Mhm.
there are people out there who go to Christmas parties. They get invited. I don't ever get invited. But instead of taking a bottle of wine or some sort of a gift or whatever, you go by and pick up a little trinket for the guy's
Yeah.
tree, for your whoever the host tree is, or some sort of a little decoration. And if they're a boater or a fisherman, all sorts of little trinkets are available for that. You can also find Christmas gifts, something else. Okay, so you want to take a fillet knife, or you want to take something to your host, or you're fisherman. Okay, go buy him a bunch of lures. Find out what kind he likes. Don't ask him, ask his fishing buddy. Duh. And you'll find out the truth that way. And then you can go shop and you'll look just like you know what you're doing. Tideline Marine, again, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Got a strong cold front. It's approaching today. It's going to push across the state tonight. Dry and cool high pressure will build over the weekend and into early next week. This will result in a small craft advisory through Sunday afternoon. Going to be choppy out there, y'all. Southerly winds today, 15 to 20, gusts to 25, seas 5 to 8 feet, except 3 to 5 near shore. Dominant period 6 seconds. Sounds and rivers will be choppy. Westerly winds on Friday, 15 to 20, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon, 4 to 6 footers, dominant period 7 seconds. And on Saturday, westerly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, seas 4 to 6, 3 to 4 near shore.
It's going to rain today. High of 68. It's raining now. I just looked
It
outside.
was raining earlier.
Yep. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 45. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 57. A little gusty tomorrow. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 38. On Saturday, sunny, high of 55. And on Sunday, sunny, high of only 49.
Ugh.
Nippy.
Yeah,
Ooh.
buddy.
Nippy,
What
nippy.
fun. Two Mississippi police officers shot and killed yesterday responded to a welfare check.
Mm-hmm.
The woman who apparently shot them and who was the one they were responding to assist opened fire on the cops.
Mm-hmm.
She also died. 43-year-old Amy Anderson sitting in a parked car with an underage girl in the parking lot of a Motel 6 when St. Louis Police Department officers, two other, 123, 124, responded to the scene. 4:30 in the morning. Okay, 4:30 a.m. call, the witching hour.
Mm-hmm.
The officers spoke with her for about 30 minutes, during which a child protective services official was called. At some point, the lady opened fire on the cops, striking them both. No word on the child who was in the car. She was shot dead. The details of this tragic story are still unfolding.
Shame.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Tragic loss,
Yeah.
loss of life all the way around.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME 910-333-0139. Want to chat? Now's your time. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back, and we have we're heading for a record number of phone calls today, I think. Good
I
morning.
love
Who's
it.
this?
Good morning. It's Jason Edmond.
Hey,
Hello,
Jason.
Jason.
Good
How
morning,
are you?
Jason?
Good. I'm off today. I'm calling as a listener.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay.
Yay.
That's cool.
I was listening on the radio, but when I got home, I had to switch to my phone
Mhm.
and was checking you out on YouTube. And I wanted to say how nice it was to see Kelly and Lee, of course,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen Rayford in the studio.
Mhm.
That's my first time seeing Rayford in the studio, and maybe you've been there longer. I just didn't know it, but it's good to see you in the studio, sir.
Well, actually, I'm not here. This is what we call a green screen. I'm at home, and
Don't
we put
listen
it
to
up on the
that.
Oh,
green screen.
Jason,
So
don't
you know,
listen
kind
to
of like
her.
the weather guys do
Uh-huh.
on TV.
Nice try.
That's
Well,
that's what this is.
I started to believe you for a second there. You did a good job. I was going to say, man, that's some good Photoshop.
I have been able to convince a lot of people of a lot of things that are just not even close to being true. But anyway, they bought it. It sounded like a good story at the time.
Jason,
Well,
yesterday
I'm
was his
very-
first
I'm-
day in here.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
I
okay.
was here Tuesday
Okay.
when you were gone.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I,
I,
was
uh,
not here Tuesday. You're
It's
right.
my third
Tuesday.
day
It's his
here.
third day.
Actually, fourth day because
Yeah.
today's Friday.
Stop.
Okay. Well, I'm usually a radio listener,
Yeah.
but today I was able to do both.
Well,
And
good.
it was very cool to see you in the picture there,
I appreciate
Rayford. Again, not leaving out.
Oh, no.
So
Lee and
go
Kelly,
ahead and
but,
go ahead and do like all the other people and tell me how I look.
You look good.
Oh, you look great,
Mhm.
sir.
Well, I must have looked
I
like
mean,
crap
but-
before, is all I can tell you. If I look great
No,
now,
I
I
mean-
must have looked like crap before.
No.
No.
You look you look good before, but like anybody who has gone through what you've gone through, you've probably lost a little weight. Not that you needed to,
Yes, I did.
but yeah. So that's what I mean by you look good.
Mhm.
And anyway, before I say anything about this other thing, I have to get y'all to agree that it's not political. So
It's not political.
if you've ever if you've ever seen me, you would know that I'm a pretty good eater.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a pretty good consumer of food, so therefore I think I'm qualified to talk on the subject of food trucks.
Okay.
But if food trucks are political, I better not talk about them.
They're not political.
I don't think they're political.
Okay,
They're
so I have
food
permission
trucks.
to talk about food trucks.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
a non-political
There
way.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not Democrat or Republican.
That's right.
That's food truck.
Okay. So I think you could see the argument from either side. So I live in the city. I pay the double tax, but I love the benefits. Like I never want to be far from a Food Lion. And so I don't mind paying the tax. But the food truck thing, I think it depends. Like if one day the food truck person ends up being a restaurant owner, then they might see it from the other side. And then you could argue that in the beginning, a restaurant may have been a food truck. So they had, the shoe. It depends on which foot the shoe's on, depending upon what view you would have, But I love the food trucks. I haven't gotten to visit them as much as I would like because I live in the city and I actually I work in the city, even though I work for the county. But yeah, I still want to go to several. There's two barbecue trucks, two different ones,
And
and
they're
I want
good.
to.
They are good.
I want to try both of them. I don't want to discriminate against them, but
Taste
so I
test.
guess what I'm saying is there's a good argument for food trucks, and there's probably a good argument against food trucks if you're a restaurant owner, because I guess probably from the revenue side, whoever's renting that building, they're paying their rent based on the property owner has to pay property taxes, which goes to the city and the county
Right.
and all that stuff. And then the person renting that building is paying, a greater amount than say the food truck person. But you have to start somewhere. So I can see both sides and appreciate both sides, but in the end, I just love food, whether it's mobile or immobile.
I would like to see both of the groups, the restaurants and the food trucks in a room, and let's say, can we reach an agreement here? Can we come to terms that this is good, this is not good. We need to agree that this is how we're going to operate. One is, I got a food truck. I'm not going to go park it in your parking lot, or probably not even in the parking lot next door. And because I don't want my customers running over to your bathroom. That just is not good for business. You know what I mean?
Well, most of the time people
Yeah.
go to a food truck, they get what they want and they take it home.
Most of the time, any of the time, whatever.
Right.
But I think it would just be kind of an unfair situation for somebody to run into, use a free bathroom facility at a place they're not going to be shopping at or
I
eating
do that
at,
a lot. When
whatever.
the urge hits, you've got to go.
Well, that's, you're traveling or whatever, right?
Right.
But I mean, you're not going to go get a burger at the place next door, then go to the restroom at another burger place.
No.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think there would be a
That would just
what
be
you're saying,
rude and
what,
crude.
What you're saying, Rayford, is would be a good idea. Like almost like if they called a meeting and let the restaurant people say what they want to say,
Absolutely.
and the food trucks say what they want to see, and then the city kind of be there as the mediator or something.
Yeah,
But
work it out.
I guess I don't know. These things are more complicated probably on the inside than the outside. But yeah, I think I love food like Kelly, but and I don't agree or disagree with Kelly because I see both sides, and
Yes.
I love food, so I can understand how both sides want, depending on whether you own a food truck or you own a brick and mortar, or not even own, you're just renting. I could see where one wouldn't want the other, but yeah, there's got to be like you said, a happy medium where everybody can
Sure.
get,
Absolutely.
get fed and happy.
Okay. Jason, we appreciate your calls, political or otherwise.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Yeah, hopefully that wasn't political.
It
'Cause
was
that's
not.
what I
No.
can't be political.
Jason's getting
But,
skinny too. How much weight have you lost now?
45
Oh,
pounds.
yay. Good for you.
Yeah, Nutrisystem, but 5 months. I'm not renewing after this time. I'm going to try Clean Eats or something like that because I've shook my menu up all I can, and I'm worn out on that Nutrisystem.
Gotcha.
But it did its purpose. But
Got you
I'm not
started.
gonna
That's
be
a good
able
thing.
yeah, it got me started, and I'm going to stay away from fast food. But
First
yeah,
thing.
I'm going to try a food truck every now and then.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well, that's fine. And just don't try your weight loss program like I did. It ain't pretty.
No, that's
Oh
not
no,
a good
no,
way.
no, sir. I didn't have that, but I had a TIA or a mini stroke, so
Yeah.
I got scared straight myself.
There
and,
you go.
I'm going to stay on board, sir. You
Yeah.
can hold me accountable.
Please don't go anywhere.
All right, y'all have a great day.
Yeah,
You
you too.
too.
Just take a break. You're live and local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll have just a couple of minutes or so when we come back. And we're back in here. Kelly had to take a quick run. She's got
Yes,
she
she's
got
got
an
a
appointment
meeting
or
at
something.
yeah,
A
meeting
that
at
she sort of
9
about half
o'clock.
forgot about. So anyway, I want to congratulate somebody. I want
Oh,
to talk
yes.
really nice about somebody that I haven't talked nice about for the past couple of years.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jacksonville Daily News.
Oh, yes.
I have seen more local news in the online. I haven't subscribed to the other one yet.
Right.
I'm going to, it looks like, have to subscribe to the actual newspaper because I'm liking what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually putting news in there,
Yes, they
local
are.
news, Jacksonville, Onslow County news that we can use. I like it. Yes, they still got other stuff in there, interesting stuff. They've still got plenty of sports in there. Cool. Good for them. Local sports is really sadly lacking in coverage in most areas. You get a little smattering on local TV, but it's a smattering unless you
Right.
happen to be in the town like Greenville or New Bern. If you're outside Greenville or New Bern, you don't get nearly as much in local sports coverage. Okay, you'll get a mention. Last night's score is 24-17, 4-8, and whatever. That's pretty much about all you get,
Right.
unless it's the team where their town they're in,
Right.
because they have to get out and travel to the other locations. Been there, got that.
You know how I was getting my
But,
scores before, I mean, for other games,
Yeah,
and not what WSME was doing, but I was getting them through Twitter. I was going to
well, I
Twitter
don't
to
do
get them.
Twitter, but
Right.
I can. There's an online high school
Right. There's the
scoreboard here in
Max
North
Preps.
Carolina,
Yes.
and I use that all the time. But congratulations to them, and the young man over there. I had a nice chat with him one day. You sent me the information,
Trevor.
So yeah, and I called him, and we're going to get him in here, and I want to just have a meeting with him and see if there's something that we can do together to promote local news coverage. We've heard it time and again and again and again and again since, as so many people have said to us, the demise of the paper, and it has gone downhill a lot, but it's coming back up. The reason is because Trevor, he's, I guess, a family owned and operated company for the last 60, 70 years in the journalism business, the newspaper business. And there are people still working there with the same name. Hello.
Yes.
That's
tell you,
different. That's going to make a difference in this community.
I do agree with you about the Jacksonville Daily News because the online content has been more and more each day.
Absolutely.
I'm actually reading local stuff, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, wow, this is a difference.
So
I may have to subscribe.
yeah, well, I'm going to have to do that, and I'm going to have a chat with Trevor and see if we can't maybe work out some
Help each other.
Yeah, help each other, because it's going to do nothing but help the community, and that's what we're also here about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Okay. I don't know what we've got tomorrow, I guess it's Saturday tomorrow since today's Friday.
Well, why don't we just skip tomorrow and go straight to Monday?
Okay, we'll go to Monday is tomorrow, so we'll figure out what we got to do tomorrow.
Yes.
If you've got anything you want us to talk about, feel free to ring us up. You can call during the show at any time. You can also send emails. My email is the public one that I'll give you is rayfordbrown@gmail. Kind of simple. Don't put something inane in the subject line, because if it looks like it's one of those spams or political things that I know nothing about, like, hey, you,
Right.
no, that ain't going to happen. My spam mailbox is full of that stuff. I just
deleted
automatically dump it.
24 and was all from the Republican
I
Party.
probably deleted
God.
300 this morning, but since I got up.
My Roadrunner account, which I very seldom use, has
Uh-huh.
got over 8,000 emails in it
Yeah,
right now.
I don't have any
If
of my
there was
stuff.
some way I could just push one button.
Anyway, so we will be back in here tomorrow, the gruesome threesome, and we'll see what we've got coming up. I have zero idea. But if you again happen to be circling the globe on the internet and you see an empty room, it looks kind of like on the dark side, maybe might even have some lights on at time, on one of those video channels that you never know, and it might
That's
look
right.
sort of like this one right here, right
That's
now,
right.
but without people in it. That's us. We're just
Yes, we're doing
test-
testing.
We're testing things.
We
that
have a
should
lot of surprises
scare
in store.
Scare you to no end. Anyway, We will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great and safe day. If you want to send a message, Rayford Brown at Gmail. That's RAEFORD Brown at gmail.com. And point us in the right direction, something that we may find interesting as well. And we'll be certainly happy to look into it. Meanwhile, Fox News Break is now coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. A dose of the Daily D's with Rick D's in the house. 3 o'clock this afternoon, our little buddy, Hollywood, Chris Hollywood Man,
Yes.
will be stopping in. We got to ask him what they do in Hollywood for Christmas. What do you think? Because I know he rides out there every year.
He does.
Yeah, he goes out there. He takes
He
the
goes to
sleigh.
Virginia. Oh.
No, he takes the sleigh
Takes
and then
the
he comes
sleigh.
back. It's fast.
Oh, Chris.
You're live and local. We'll talk. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day.